Hey, how's it going? Today I just wanted to kind of have a chat session. Um, Kids are school's back in session. It's been a semi-rough couple of weeks. Um, I know my last announcement. I'm excited about um, some things, and I've been working on those in the past couple of weeks. Well, really, the month of January, I've kind of been laying the groundwork for some things, and that's coming along. But the weather's kind of threw a wrench in a way into some things, and that being said, I've had to lean heavily on God here, just to be open. It's with the school being closed. As a man, as a man, we want to feel productive. We want to feel needed and things like that. And when you're in a period of time where that's not happening, or that's suppressed temporarily, um, we can get in our own heads about it, and I've done just that. Um, so I've been since I've left my career, and now I'm home, and I'm um, waiting on this open door that God has for me. Um, I've not been without Satan's attacks, and he's tried to hit me every little way he can. Now I'm aware of them. I'm aware that he's attacking, and I can shrug it off for the most part. But I'd be a liar if I didn't say some of it gets to me. Um, so, what exactly has been happening? Well, um, as I said, I've been laying some groundwork for an upcoming project, and um, my own company that I've started. And so I've got the LLC filed, I've got my website up and running, I've got business cards ordered. I'm trying the leanest startup that I can. But I've got the stuff in place, right? And working on those. And that's kind of kept me going and kept me ambitious and motivated. And um, I since God's with me on this. Um, but where school has been closed and I've had the kids home, there's been a lot of stuff that I've not been able to do because they're home. Now, I don't want to sound ungrateful that I have enjoyed the extra time with the kids, being home. But when you have a 5-year-old, they're pretty needy. Where you might get them situated for a little bit, and then next thing you know, 5 minutes later, daddy, daddy, right? And so after about the 10th round of daddy, daddy, it starts to get frustrating, and I get in my head and go, man, can I not have 5 minutes to get something done? And it's weighed on me. Um, and I know I shouldn't feel that way, and I had to come out of that. What snapped me out of that was I remembered that sometimes we have to go through some cycles in life and temporary moments, but what comes at the end of those moments is where you see the blessings, and you see how God was working when you don't see him working. And so I've had to really reel myself back and say, okay, actually a good thing that I am home, because what got me thinking, and what reeled me back in was realizing that when I was in my career, and my wife was also, my wife works too, we have no family support. We don't have the family support system that a lot of people have. My mom has passed, so she's not available, and my in-laws live about an hour away. So what would happen before in these situations was we're begging and scraping straws to see who's gonna come and help us watch our children when school's out, when we have snow days, when school's closed. And with the amount of school days, if you really look at and think how often kids are out of school, I honestly don't see how people are maintaining careers at all unless they're just fortunate enough to work for understanding companies, which is great. Um, but my wife and I would have to take turns. You know, if it's a snow day, like, okay, it's my turn to call out, stay home. Okay, well, the next one, all right, my wife would have to call out, stay home. And so it's made me really realize that in this very moment, it's been a blessing that I have decided to leave. Um, my wife, she's working, she's in the medical field, so she works, 12-hour days. So it's been a good thing for me to be here. It's just been challenging for me, um, because I'm wanting to lay some more of the backbone for my company and do more work and feel productive. Feel productive. And there's been days where I kind of feel stuck, trapped. But I have to realize I'm not trapped. I'm right where I need to be. And I'm trying to make the best of it. And so today is kind of my daughter went back to school, and my son did, and so I was able to get some things done this morning, and I felt kind of productive in making this video. So I actually have a chance to make these videos too. It's hard to make a video when kids running around and you got shows, cartoons going in the background and things like that. So um, I'm glad to actually be able to finally make some content and to upload. Um, I have a story I wanted to share. Something that happened. It's been a few months now. It happened back in the fall, and it's just something I wanted to share. You know, of a perspective, of adding different perspectives in life, and talking yourself back out of the the depression, the anxiety, the fears. And so those of you that know, you know, I have an '09 Shelby that I bought to basically pay tribute to my mom, my mom who's passed. And so it has there's a sentimental value there, right? And plus, me being a car enthusiast, it's nice to have a cool car that I can get out and drive every now and then. Now, obviously, I can't now with the weather being what it is, but the spring, summer, I'll get it out and enjoy it. But last fall-ish time frame, my son had a sleepover at a friend's house, and I got up the next morning to go get him, and um, I have a van as my daily driver, and so I was going to pick him up in the van, but I exit my house through the garage door, and so I exit through my garage door. As I open the garage door, I happened to notice that one of my kayaks had fallen. I guess at some point during that night, had fallen, and it was laying at an angle, kind of like an angle, diagonal, um, at the and is next to my Shelby that's parked in the garage, and my heart sank. I was like, oh, please don't. I'm expecting to walk around my car and see the window broken or the side mirror ripped off or something. And I'm looking down the side of the car and it looks fine. Well, I wasn't out of the clear. Of course, I had to back the car out of the garage to put the kayak back up, or well, I actually ended up having to take it down because the mount snapped, and I had to order find a new method to store it. So as I move the kayak or move back the car out, I see that the kayak fell on the front nose of the car and put a dent. It didn't scratch it, to be honest. I was surprised it did not scratch it, but it put a dent about that long and about that wide. I mean, it was just like a straight line dent into the front corner. And admittedly, I was upset because I'd had the car maybe a year, a little over a year at that point, and and in that moment, I started almost doing a Job. I almost started asking God why did this happen to me? Why does everybody else get to enjoy their stuff and these things happen to me? And I immediately, like Job, I had to stop myself. I said, look, I don't need to question you. And so, anyway, I let myself feel in that moment. But I got in the car one day. It was not that same day, but a couple days later, I get in the car and I'm taking a drive, and the car is kind of my sanctuary. Like I don't listen to the radio when I'm driving it. I just listen to the hum of the engine, and that's my alone time. And I actually talk to God. Um, it's almost like it's became my sanctuary. And when I really can think deeply, reflect, things like that. And so I'm driving the car one day, and it was almost like I could feel God speaking to me. And before that moment, of course, I had a few friends that knew how much I valued this car and the sentiment in it. Okay, it's the sentiment, how much sentiment I had in this car. And so they're asking me like, "Have you called around to see get an estimate on getting it fixed? You gonna fix it? When you gonna get it fixed? When you gonna get it fixed? Right?" And so I'm driving one day after, of course, all of this is going on, and it was like I felt God saying, "How many times in your life have you been hit?" And that that they hit home. They hit me deep, and it was like God was saying, "You've been hit. You've got blemishes, and none of that has changed your value to me." And so in that moment, I got to thinking. I was like, you know what? That dent is going to stay there. That little dent is going to stay there because the car is still special to me. It did not change. It doesn't make me want to get rid of it. Does not make me want to sell it. It makes me now appreciate it even more because it's now even a more reflection of life. That life will hit, and life will sometimes leave an impression, but it doesn't change our value to God. And so, you know, I've had to stop myself and really think deeper, and go, even though you might have a day or a week, sometimes even a month, where things are not going ideal or the way you think they maybe are going, there's a reason. There's a reason. And when it comes to light, and when you're in that future moment, when those blessings are raining down, you can look back and go, I know. Now I know why that happened. Now I know why I was there. And I hope y'all are going to understand where I'm going to go with this. But it's almost like looking at the stock market. Okay? You got a lot of people that, man, if I invested whatever back then, because hindsight's always 2020. You don't know in those moments, right? But you say you look at a chart of a stock graph, and you see where maybe Apple is, or pick a stock, right? Or Tesla, or whatever. Oh man, if I would have invested when it was $5 or when it was $10, how much I would have now. But you're looking at a big, broad range, right? It could be, what, 10 years, 15 years when it was at $5? Well, I guarantee you the people that invested $5, back when it was $5, and it dipped down to $2, they were freaking out. Oh, I'm going broke. Oh, I'm losing it. But if they held on, and the ones that held through that, they held through the storm, and if they're still holding today, they're reaping the benefits. They're reaping the blessings. Now, I'm not saying that blessings are in the stock market. I'm just saying that those storms that you have to ride out as an investor, you can't go bailing out when there's a dip. You know, you can't say I'm all in today and then ready to leap out tomorrow when the waters get choppy. But anyway, just want to make this and share a couple stories and just be a little vulnerable today. So, God bless. See you on the next one. Have a good week.